The risk is someone gets cancer that's listening to this, or someone has cancer that's listening to this. I mean, statistically, there's a lot of people listening to this that have cancer right now. And they're speaking to their doctor. And their doctor is saying chemotherapy, radiation therapy, et cetera, et cetera.
And glucose has nothing to do with tumor. Eat whatever you want.
Yeah, and so what do you say to those people who they've just got a diagnosis and their doctors are saying, right, listen, this is pretty severe. We're going to suggest that you take chemotherapy.
Yeah.
You're not telling them not to take chemotherapy, are you?
I'm not telling them that. And what we found is that when you are in nutritional ketosis with a glucose ketone index of 2.0 or below, my colleagues that we work with in Istanbul, Turkey, were able to show that chemotherapies at much lower dosages can be even more therapeutically powerful when you're in nutritional ketosis. So you don't have to get rid of a lot of these different procedures that we have today. I'm just saying radiation for brain cancer. I'm not saying radiation for lung or some of the other cancers.
Okay.
Because if you can shrink those tumors down and make them very weak and vulnerable, a surgical procedure, a radiation procedure, even low-dose chemo could come in, and even immunotherapy. If you took a big tumor and shrunk it down to a small nub, and it's resistant to a lot of the things, they all have to share something in common for them to survive this path. That might be an immunotherapy could come in because they're going to target whatever all of them have together, and you could possibly get rid of it that way.
I'm thinking of a friend of mine that has been diagnosed with brain cancer, brain tumor. And this is one of the most, it's a woman in her 40s or 50s, trying to keep her anonymous as possible, who is just the most fit, athletic person that I know, eats amazingly well, is literally known for exercise. And I'd go, how? How is it possible that someone who I would probably say is fitter than I am, if you looked at their sort of metabolic health, has got a severe brain tumor?
Well, they can stay healthy for, and I'm not saying everybody who has, and it depends on what kind of a tumor it is as well. Is it a glioblastoma, oligodendroglioma, peanut, there's a lot of different kinds of tumors. That
I know that it's not growing necessarily, but it's big and it's in the brain, and they're going to remove it through a surgical operation.
Well, if they can, what we always suggest for the brain cancer, if you do metabolic therapy up front, and I've had surgeons tell me this, you can shrink it down because it's angry. It's an angry thing, right? And you can see some slight invasion. If you can shrink that down so that it's more circumscribed, now the surgeon can look at it and go, oh my God. We know many scientific publications, the more you can debulk, that's called the removal of the tumor, debulking, the longer the patient will survive. The evidence is massive to support that. But, with a lot of these brain tumors, you don't get it all. And there's always some little piece that remains. And when you irradiate, you explode the ability of the cells to ferment energy, and it's very hard to kill them. But if you can get the majority of it out and then transition the patient back into a metabolic state, keeping the pressure on those tumor cells, you can remain healthy like Pablo. I mean, these guys can.
And when you found in mice is that when ketogenic diet was combined with hyperbaric oxygen therapy, the average survival time was increased by roughly 80%?
Yeah, even more sometimes now. But okay, so why do we do hyperbaric oxygen, right? That's the question. What's going on with hyperbaric oxygen? Why is this like a good thing? It works best when the patient and the mouse is in nutritional ketosis. Okay, so look, we have a tumor. We irradiate that tumor. How does the radiation kill the tumor cells? It hits oxygen, blows up, and it causes a reactive ROS, and it's like a stepping on a landmine. It blows the tumor up, right? So cancer cells protect themselves, even though they make a lot of ROS. They're this close to death anyway, but they have a very powerful antioxidant system. And interestingly enough, that besides causing the dysregulated growth, the glucose and the glutamine also protect them to some extent from the ROS that they're making. Can you believe this?
The ROS.
ROS, reactive oxygen species that are carcinogenic and mutagenic. So they destroy our proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. They're disruptive molecules. So radiation will cause a ROS in the microenvironment, ROS, that'll blow up and kill cells, normal and tumor cells. But if you want to selectively kill tumor cells, with ROS, not to cause your hair to fall out, your gums to bleed, and all this crazy stuff, you take the patient, you put him in nutritional ketosis, and you say he's got low GKI, Then you go into hyperbaric oxygen, which dissolves oxygen directly into your blood now. It's better than just breathing 100% oxygen because you can actually dissolve oxygen in the bloodstream. Then you're taking away the two fuels that protect the tumor and you're giving it internal ROS, which kills the tumor internally, only to the tumor cell, not to your surrounding tissues. So you're selectively killing tumor cells without collateral damage to the rest of your body. As a matter of fact, the rest of your cells are getting super healthy because they're burning ketones in pure oxygen. Unbelievable.
How do we measure if our...
Can you believe this? I can't even believe I'm saying this stuff myself. You really got to know the biochemistry, and you have to know the physiology of your own body, and you have to understand evolutionary biology.
Most people just aren't that intelligent, including me.
It's not intelligence.
Yeah, but most people kind of want things, sort of simple principles that they can live by and implement.
And also quick and easy.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, they don't want to do what I'm talking about it because it might be. Oh, the other thing. Let me tell you one thing and remember it. If you do metabolic therapy, success rides heavily on your shoulders. You're not sitting there like some pawn with a mannequin, some guy's poisoning and irradiating you. To make metabolic therapy work, you are the one doing the GKI. You're the one. It's your soul. You're responsible for your existence on this planet. You're going to put your precious soul in the hands of someone who has less of a knowledge about the problem than you might.